All right. What time is it? I fooled you, didn't I? Didn't you read the sign on the way in? Time for a miracle. Thank you, Kathy. I can always count on you. It's time for a miracle. You know, when I come to the end of what I think I can do as a separate human being, you know, just a single individual, and when I've come to the end of all the imagination of how I can imagine how I can fix things or how I can make it better, what happens? I have to turn it over, right? You guys know that really well. It's time to turn my life over to the care of God as I understand her, or him if you're still doing that. As I understand it, that divine energy of perfect love. I have to turn my life and my will over to that. However you define the divine, the infinite, the universal mind, the heart of what runs the universe. You know, the universe is unfolding as planned perfectly. Like there's a line in the Stowe Good song. They're going to be here back here in May, by the way. There's a line that says, "Thinking you're in charge here, what a bloody curse." There's no need to hand crank the universe. And that, doesn't it feel sometimes like that's what you're trying to do? You're trying to run the universe. You think you're in charge here. It is a bloody curse. And, you know, when you really look at it, thinking that we're in charge here has led to all of our problems. We think we know better than the universal mind of God. We absolutely think we do, though, and we start to form and shape a world according to the ego, according to the limited perception of the individual human being, instead of according to the unlimited potential of your God self. This is the fundamental shift which we have to make in our minds. And I do believe that it's going to take a miracle. But don't worry, we just learned in that song that miracles are everywhere, that everything's a miracle. And the only reason we're not experiencing it or seeing the miracle is because we're not focused on that. It's not holy to us. This child's face is a holy child of God. If you can't see God in that face right there, then you don't have eyes to see. But that's okay because the miracle gives you eyes to see. I can see God in every face here. And this is the shift that takes place when you let go of your judgments. Now, the first person that you have to let go of your judgments of is you, yourself. When you look in that mirror, what do you see? What are you saying to yourself when you look in that mirror? That's a very important question. And you know, it's okay if you find yourself judging. That's the moment of opportunity where you can choose again. Where you can say, no, you are beautiful. You are magnificent. You're a holy child of divine love. Wow, I'm so glad to see you. Do you ever wake up in the morning and look in the mirror and say that? Or do you say, oh my God, I need a shower and some makeup. Oh man, where's my hairbrush? Oh, I don't need it. I'm living in the past. Talk about living in the past. I opened up the drawer this morning in the bathroom and there's still hair gel in there. Oh my goodness. But you know, we like a lot of spiritual teachers here. One of them's Wayne Dyer. Right? You like that guy? He's brilliant. Isn't he amazing? He said God only made a few perfect heads. The rest of them he gave hair. Sorry, but seriously, it may require a miracle for us to change the minds of those who are still clinging to destruction, the ways of destruction as a way of life. And perhaps it is time for that miracle. I really do believe this is a big shift in human consciousness. This is a moment where you get to decide which side of this picture you want to be on. You see, this is a beautiful slide. Thank you, Lily, for picking this, because it's perfect. Do you want to be on the left side of this picture or on the right? You get to decide. It's not up to somebody else. You think it's really up to somebody else. You think someone else is out there expressing all of this destruction and war. It's in us. It's in each and every one of us. We have the opportunity in this moment to say, I'm not going to live by that thought system any longer. What we're witnessing in the world today is nothing new. Human beings have been attacking and killing each other since the beginning of time, for centuries. But what can be different now is that we choose a miracle instead. What can be different is that a sufficient number of people stand up and say, I refuse to participate in the thought system that creates war and violence. It's a thought system, and I will not participate in that any longer. Guess what? This is the moment. This is the moment where the miracle is occurring. And you could say, well, that's not possible. But you have to remember, and I'll show you the slide in a minute, that if it's not possible for you, it's time for a miracle. And I know that it's time. I can feel it. It's that moment, where you're waiting for the water to boil. And all of a sudden, it reaches a certain temperature for a certain amount of time, and it starts boiling. Then you can cook your pasta. So I'm going to tell you right now, we're ready for some pasta. I'm ready. The water's boiling for humankind. It's time. It's time to fix our thinking. If we fix our thinking, the problems fix themselves. The problem of climate change is going to be fixed if we fix our thinking. The problem of wars on this earth, that's going to be fixed if we fix our thinking. I know a lot of you are going to say, I don't believe that. I've been trying to fix my thinking for years and it hasn't worked. But if a sufficient number of people are focused on what thoughts they're holding in their mind. We did this last week. Thoughts held in mind. You got to produce after their kinds, the law of mind action. Everything in the manifest realm has its beginning in thought. That's the third principle of unity. But it's a principle, it's a divine law of the universe. It's not just a principle that we're teaching academically, or it's really not a conceptual principle. It's a principle of the universe. It's how the universe works. Everything in the manifest realm has its beginning in thought. What are you thinking? What do you hold in your mind on a consistent basis? What are the thoughts you're sharing with others? What is the thought system that creates your thinking? That's an even more important question. It may take a miracle. I know it will. But that's okay because I believe in miracles. I believe in the miracle that comes about by prayer, meditation, and direct action of spiritual principles in my life. I have seen too many miracles to not believe in them. Finally, what does the song say? Everything's a miracle. And you start to see it because it's true. It's all around us. It's what the universe is. It's how it operates. And it should be how we operate. All we need to do is get in alignment with universal law, with what is. It's that simple. So people say walking on water is a miracle. But Thich Nhat Hanh said, to me, walking peacefully on earth is the real miracle. We have a guest speaker next week sitting in the back here, James Kirshner. So I'm starting to flow with his energy, and I see all these quotes from Thich Nhat Hanh pop up this week. And this is my favorite because I know that walking on water is possible. Not only possible, I know it's easy. When I was a child, still a teenager, 16 years old, I found myself meditating on the beach. Nobody taught me how to meditate. I just sat still and watched the water and stilled my mind. I allowed my mind to become still and calm. I didn't try to do anything. I just said, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to sit here. And I sat there for 20 minutes. And all of a sudden, my mind became so still that I looked out on the waves. It was a very still day anyway, but the ocean turned to concrete. It just kind of snapped into place. Time stopped, and it became a solid surface. And I said, oh, that's how he did it. The ocean's in his mind. He calms his mind. The ocean becomes something that you can walk on. When I got up to try to walk on it, it turned back into water. So, not there yet. But at least you got that first step in your mind. That calming your mind is the key. Stilling your mind becomes the key. Because the manifest realm is a result of thought. And true thought is energy. And so, of course, a greater miracle than being able to walk on that water would be to walk peacefully on the earth with my brothers and sisters. To walk in harmony with the earth so I don't destroy it with everything that I do. In growing my food and driving my car and having electricity. And all the other ways in which we destroy the earth. I will walk in balance with the earth. I will walk in peace with the earth. And not only is it possible, it has to be a certainty. It has to be something that we decide to do now. We can do everything possible to restore peace in Ukraine right now, but if we don't address the root cause of this conflict and this violence, which is our thought system, then the world will merely continue as it was before. This is a turning point in our thinking. It's a point where we choose. Because more conflicts will just pop up in other places. And indeed, they are already happening in other places around the world. So there's no end to the opportunity, to the miracles that we can offer. This is a great opportunity. A lot of people are seeing it as a time of sadness, a time of devastation, a time of destruction. I'm seeing it as a time of opportunity to work miracles, to change the thought system of war and embrace the thought system of oneness, of peace. Embrace the responsibility to walk as the Christ. We need to focus on the energy within our minds and our hearts. That's the place. We need to place that energy where it can make a fundamental change. If we're focused out there, we're not going to make a fundamental change. We might make small changes. We may even make big changes out there. But this is where the change needs to take place. There's a greater fight to be won. It's not an external fight. It's an internal transformation. It's not really a fight at all, but a decision. It's internal. That's where it needs to take place. It's a determination, and I know we can do it, to shine our light into the darkness of the collective human consciousness and offer this new thought system of miracles. Forget everything else. Both sides are wrong. I don't care which side of the question you're on, they're both wrong. The only place is in the middle, the third way. That sounds like one of James's teachings too. The Buddha called it the third way. Because, as Rumi said, beyond the ideas of right doing and wrong doing, there's a field. Right? And that's a field of infinite possibilities. I'll meet you there. That's the field of unconditional love. I will meet you there. That's the field where we are all one. And there's not even a question of what side you're on because we're both there together, living in the miracle. We're both there living in the love that we are. And sometimes it just seems too hard to just decide that I'm going to live in the love. I'm going to be there. I'm going to demonstrate that. No matter what the world is saying, I'm not going to respond to that. I'm going to respond to who you really are. That takes the most courage. And you guys are awesome when I see you doing it. Keep doing it. Don't stop. Don't get discouraged. We need you. We absolutely need you to be determined to shine your light into the collective human consciousness. You can do it. You are doing it. Just keep going. Don't stop. Please don't get distracted thinking that, whatever's going on out there is the only reality that there is. Because it's not. It's just a little tiny part of your story. The Earth's been here for what? 14 billion years, the universe that as we know it. And so how long have you been here? 40 years? 45? It's just a snap of, it's just a blink of the eye. You think it's all so important. All this, nobody's going to remember any of it. You think it's all so important. No, the most important moment is the moment where the wave remembers it's the ocean. It's so long been thinking it's separate from the ocean. It's the best wave in the ocean. All right? It's the only wave. But or a drop, right? It's more like a drop. We're like drops in the ocean. I'm the best drop. But finally, you find yourself back in the necessity to remember that you're one with everything. And in that moment, you realize it's not only possible, but it's absolutely certain that peace is present here now. So the greater fight to be won is not really a fight at all. It's a transformation. It's an internal transformation. We put all of our energy there. We know that what's impossible for us, it's not only possible for God, it's certain. Because that's what we are, in truth. We've just misidentified ourselves as separate bodies, as individuals within this, crazy chaos that we've created. But all of that can be let go of in a second. I can deny the power of it over me. I can deny that I want it. First of all, if I don't want the chaos, I just say, I've had enough. I really have had enough. I want the peace of God. Amen. And so when I want the peace of God, I'm going to have to do the things that bring me the peace of God. I'm going to have to look for the face of God in every individual. I'm going to have to look for the face of God. I'm going to have to look past my story to the face of God. I'm going to have to care for those who have been given to me to care for. I'm going to have to allow myself to be cared for as well. People will be put in your life that really are there to show you your beauty, your magnificence, that are to help your mind heal. And your ideas of yourself have been built up over a period of time. You've had a lot of experiences that have led to how you look at yourself. The thing is, I want you to look at the miraculous experiences. I want you to look at all the people that you've drawn to yourself over the years that have helped you, that love you, that cherish you, that join with you, that interact with you on a daily basis perhaps. People that you give love to. Think about them. Think about those. For the miracle is a sign of forgiveness. Forgiveness is remembering only those loving thoughts that were given you and the ones that you gave. All the rest must be forgotten. Let it go. It's not serving you to hold on to that. Let it go and let your light shine. When you let it go, something miraculous happens. Your light begins to shine. You're the one that's been holding this this dark shroud over your head. You've put on a costume. You've put on this personality, this ego, and you're the only one that can take it off. When you let it go, you begin to shine so bright. That's why we're here, just to shine. Just to shine. Divine substance is already present. It can be formed into anything we want, anything we need by the power of our mind. Those of us here have said, I'm going to stop forming it into conflict. I'm going to stop forming it into chaos. I'm going to stop forming it into judgments. I'm going to stop forming the divine substance and into appearance of lack, an appearance of limitation, an appearance of sickness, an appearance of death. I'm going to stop forming divine substance in that way because it's all formed by the power of our mind. You know it and I know it. The thing is, you are scared of the power of your mind right now. And you're not really joyous that you can manifest and are manifesting your world exactly the way you want. Exactly the way you want. That's why I'm praying for Ukraine. I'm joining with the Ukrainian people each and every day because I realize that I form the substance of war in my own mind. You say, well, I don't do that. When's the last time you complained about something? When's the last time you argued with the person next to you? When's the last time you were yelling and screaming at the TV? Or at who got elected or who didn't get elected? Or the next thing that comes down the line that you have to complain about? All of that is the energy of conflict. When's the last time you found yourself judging another? Walking down the street and you see someone and the story starts going in your head. You know, I love walking up to those people that when that's happening, I love walking up to them and saying, hi, I'm Tony, who are you? Like, I want to know who they are, really. You know, there's a wonderful guy that walks up and down the street and he'd look a little scary if you're all by yourself over here. That's a big guy and he's a little rough, and yeah. And you know what? He's the nicest person I ever met. You know, once I got to know him, at first I was like, why is he talking to us? You know, like a little like, you know, he's not in my frequency. You know, he's not. No, I was like, there I go in another form of divine substance. There go I. There I am. In another space-time. That's me. That's me. If I had exactly the same experiences that he had, that's how I would be walking down the street. And I got talking to this person, and boy, we just hit it off. We had a lot of stories to tell. Mostly he had stories, and I listened. But you know what? Once you get to know someone, that judgment's over. That separation's over. That need to keep that story going of how we're separate and how I hate you, that's over. What I want from you, it's over. We're together now, and we're here in this place, and we're sharing something. You know what it's called? Our shared humanity. And when we get to that place, it's not very far to our shared divinity. That's what I love. It's so simple. If I can share a moment of humanity with you, then I'm going to be, by the power of the miracle, brought into our shared divinity. And this is what's healing the world now. There are millions of people around the world who are taking in the Ukrainian people who are refugees. There are millions of people around the world who want an end to this war. There are millions of people around the world who are helpers. In times of destruction like this, who was it?
Mr. Rogers' mother. When Mr. Rogers saw scary things on TV, he would go to his mom and she would say, there's always helpers, look for the helpers.
When Mr. Rogers would see scary things on TV, his mom would say, look for the helpers. Because that's where you'll see the miracle, my friends. Look for the helpers. And so I want us all not only to help outwardly, which we must do. We've sent money for, refugees relief, and, we're holding all of the people who are helping in a divine light. But we need to also help by being the light of the world, by truly standing up and saying, this is who I am. This is unconditional love in action. And you know what? The opportunities will present themselves. So don't worry about that. Just be open for them, because they will come. There was a young kindergarten boy who went to a school in Spain, a refugee, and when he got there, all the children came to hug him and welcome him in. All of them came to welcome their new friend. And that's how we must be. But we need to remember that a lot of people who are going to come into our lives are refugees from the war that's going on right now in their own mind and in their own families and in their own homes and their own communities. They're coming out of the conflict and they're seeking love. They're coming out of the conflict and they're seeking community. That's what we need to give them, is that community. We need to celebrate our love for one another, and we need to help them to transform their lives. And when we're helping, guess whose life really gets transformed? Mine. I love it. So everything's right here, right now. We're forming it by the power of our mind. Thich Nhat Hanh also said, this present moment is filled with joy and happiness. If you are attentive, you'll see it. Everything is holy. Everything's a miracle. And if you're attentive, you will see it. You will see it and you will experience it. The Course in Miracles tells me that the holiest place on earth is where an ancient hatred has become a present love. That's what's happening now. Love is coming to the surface, and love will rule this planet when it rules your life. I guarantee you, when there's a sufficient number of people where love is ruling their life, it will rule the planet. Everything else will fall away. It has no power. It has no power over you. It has no power except the power that you give it. And you know it. That's the thing. So come on, guys. Take back your power. Take back your energy, your passion, your fight. I was ready to go over and fight with the Ukrainians. But you know what? This is where the fight's happening. This is where it's happening. It's an internal transformation of mind. That's where the battleground really is. Otherwise, it's just going to continue over and over again. Another place, another conflict, another war. All of those things are something that we can let go of. It has no power over me. Now I'm going to accept the miracle because peace is present right here and right now. This is what I'm bringing with me. Peace is in ourselves right here and right now. And in everything we do and we see, in every breath that we take, in every step that we take, can be filled with peace and joy and serenity. So whatever challenges we seem to face in these times, whatever obstacles seem to block your path to peace, don't give up. Don't give up on the fight. Turn those obstacles into what? Opportunities. Opportunities to be the miracle. For when it seems impossible, guess what? It's time for a miracle. I love you guys. Thank you for being a blessing in my life.